Florida Maquis, what did you just show us? What does that have to do with anything that's going on in the real world right now? Well, what I just showed you was the reason the left hates you. Who has ever had that moment where chemistry and the universe just all came together and you couldn't explain it, but it just was what it was? Perception is reality. And this is what is making the left lose their mind right now. See, in that scene, a lot of babies are made that way. And people don't like to talk about it. They always want to make it out to be some grand plan of the creator. Well, this was the plan of the creator, and they can't recreate it. See, all of this nonsense about pronouns and people identifying as this or dressing as that, they can't recreate it. It is a war of the mind. And this is why they hate you. This is why we talk about psychological operations over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. It's why I charge the lowest allowable level of $1 per month, even less if you sign up for an entire year. If it could be $1 a year, I would set it at that level. Whatever the lowest level would be. That's how important I think this topic is. It is a war for the mind. Right now, what's going on with the Supreme Court and this Roe v. Wade debate is directly tied to that scene that I showed you. Because there's a subtext to how babies are made that is sending the left into a state they cannot deal with. Because as much as they want to recreate pronouns and recreate how a man or a woman might dress or what persona they might want to pretend to be in the public, they cannot recreate that natural thing that just happens. For those of you, the two of you out there, who are unaware of what that was from, it was a scene from The Walking Dead years ago. I think that was probably season 1. Character Shane and Lori. Shane and Andrea were the characters. It was Lori Holden was the actress, and I'm trying to remember the name of the actor. It's in a later image I have here. You wouldn't have seen it coming because they were kind of at each other's throats. They were both kind of alpha personalities, and they were continually just at each other, arguing and fighting. And I know a lot of you have seen this, where you just want to look at both of them and say, just get a room. Just get it over with. And that's really what was going on. But it's ineffable. And you can never predict it. And it is the evidence, in my mind, the singular piece of evidence of a creator that we have. This level of misunderstanding, even now in the 21st century, it cannot be artificially created. It's just something that happens. I know a lot of you know what I'm talking about. And later on, after all that was over, after all that one moment was over, this character here found somebody else and had another one of those moments, which didn't sit well with this guy, which confused her, which is more evidence of a creator, because things are so ugly and imperfect sometimes. But it always happens in this paradigm between the man and the woman, the two that were created by God, that there would always be this angst, this misunderstanding that makes, when it works, so much better. John Bernthal. John Bernthal is the actor, and this to me is even more evidence. To me, this is the cherry on the sundae. When interviewed about the scene, John Bernthal and Laurie Holdren, the two actual human beings that played those two characters, said that the Andrea Shane sex scene was cut off way before things even got heated. Now, this guy who made the meme says, "Hot damn, I just want to see that scene." I don't, because for me, that should be something that sticks between the people. That is just meant for them, that moment. And that's the reality of it. There is an earthquake going on across this country right now, and people are missing it. It kind of started down in Florida and meandered its way north. For those of you who haven't seen, last night up in Indiana and Ohio, conservatives were 22-0. Actual conservatives in local races that nobody's heard of were almost completely undefeated. And it is a bellwether. It is a canary in the coal mine for what is coming in November. The shakeup. And for me, I know a lot of people like, oh, only if 45 had gotten a second term. For me, and especially for us here in Florida, nothing better could have happened. Nothing better could have happened. The governor had a live yesterday that I didn't cover. I wish I would have, where he talked about how the revenue estimates for the state of Florida have been revised upwards from having a $15 billion surplus to possibly a $20 billion surplus year over year. And that doesn't mean an emergency fund. We already have an emergency fund financed. This is over and above the emergency fund. $20 billion. People say, oh, if Biden stays president another 4 years, the country's not going to do anything. There are states that are going to continue to collapse, like Michigan and Minnesota and California. But there are also states that are going to continue to thrive and become more powerful and become more wealthy and stand up and act constitutionally like was provided for by our founding fathers, that the states stand up strong governors. If it was up to me, Lemon Sore Biden would have another 4 years. It would be my great hope that his weakness from D.C. would continue so that Georgia, Nebraska, Wyoming, Nevada, Arizona could stand up leaders of their own like Ron DeSantis. And we could end up with 50 insanely powerful state governors that govern their states at the will of the people of their states, so that we can get away from all this nonsense. And this is what I'll leave with. The left would have you believe that this is this, and it isn't. It's not even close. This will never be this. Not in any world. And you can quote me on this, and you can clip this part of the video. If you have a choice between watching a Florida Maquis video that I've just posted, or going and making a real connection with another person of the opposite sex, you have my explicit instruction to take whatever device you have and toss it in the nearest large body of water and go make that connection. Get another device. Don't miss the connection. under any circumstances. I'll say it again. If you have a choice between, oh, look, Florida Maquis posted a new video, or I could go make this connection with someone of the opposite sex that's real, that's visceral, you have my explicit instruction to take whatever device you have and toss it in the nearest large body of water and go make that connection. Because there's nothing like it. When it's right, there is nothing like it. When it's real and it happens, and I know you know what I'm talking about. I know you know, especially those of you who come from an era when you were an adult before the computer era. When you have that moment, don't miss it. Do not miss it. Because they are so few and they are so far between. Don't make that mistake. Be that guy. Be that girl. Enjoy the blessings of what God gave us. Join us when you're not making the connection over Patreon. $1 per month. This is where we teach things like this, and we're able to show stuff like what we just showed from The Walking Dead. I'll leave it there. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.